You may think your evening routine is harmless, just a bit of TV, a late snack, maybe some quiet time before bed. But more and more, science is showing that what we do in the last few hours of the day can have a powerful impact on our long-term health, especially after the age of 70. I know many of you have written in or shared your concerns about feeling more tired, not sleeping well, or just not feeling your best in the mornings. And it turns out some of these issues may be connected to habits that have slowly crept into your routine, ones that seem innocent, but may actually be cutting into your quality of life and, yes, even your life expectancy. We've received some great questions from you all, and we're going to dive into them one by one, offering practical advice and tips that you can start using today. Nothing overwhelming, nothing complicated, just smart, science-backed suggestions to help you feel better, live longer, and protect your health without turning your world upside down. Let's get started with the first question that a lot of people have been asking lately. A viewer writes, I like to have a little snack in the evening, usually something sweet. It helps me relax. Is that a bad habit? This is such a relatable question, and I can't tell you how many people in their 70s and beyond have told me the same thing. A cookie here, a bowl of ice cream there. It's comforting, especially after a long day. But here's where we need to be careful. When you eat sugary foods late at night, especially processed ones like cookies, cakes, or even those so-called healthy granola bars, your blood sugar spikes just when your body is trying to wind down. That quick burst of sugar can interfere with the hormones that help you sleep, like melatonin. And over time, those spikes in blood sugar can contribute to insulin resistance, weight gain, and even increase your risk for heart disease and diabetes, all of which are known to affect lifespan. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy a treat now and then. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But if it's become a nightly habit, your body is paying a price, even if it doesn't show up right away. Instead, try something like a warm chamomile tea, a few almonds, or a small piece of dark chocolate if you're craving something sweet. These satisfy the senses without disrupting your sleep or stressing your system. One woman I spoke with, Margaret, swapped her nightly cookie for a sliced apple with a bit of cinnamon. She said she didn't notice much at first, but after 2 weeks, she was sleeping more soundly and waking up feeling less groggy. It was such a small change, she said, but it really made a difference. So yes, that bedtime sweet might feel like a comfort, but it could be quietly working against you. And when we're talking about health after 70, even the smallest habits can tip the scale in the right direction or the wrong one. Now, let's move on to another question that comes up a lot. Someone asked, I usually fall asleep with the TV on. It helps me not feel so alone. Is that something I should be worried about? This one really hits close to home. A lot of us rely on a bit of background noise to help us relax, especially if we live alone or the house just feels too quiet at night. But falling asleep with the television on, particularly if it stays on all night, can disrupt the natural rhythm your brain needs to rest properly. You see, even with your eyes closed, your brain picks up the flickering light and sound. Your nervous system doesn't fully shift into deep, healing sleep. And without that deeper rest, your body doesn't get the chance to repair cells, regulate hormones, or support your memory, all things that are even more important as we age. Studies have shown that consistent exposure to artificial light during sleep is linked to increased risks of obesity, high blood pressure, and even depression in older adults. That's serious, and all from something that seems as harmless as dozing off to a talk show or the evening news. What can you do instead? Well, you can still have that comforting presence without the flashing screen. Try using a soft lamp with a warm bulb, or better yet, listen to calming music or a soothing audiobook with a sleep timer. There are even guided meditations designed specifically for seniors that gently lull you to sleep with peaceful, reassuring voices. One gentleman I know, Carl, had a habit of falling asleep to his favorite westerns. But after he switched to listening to gentle instrumental music with the lights dimmed, he said he felt less tense in the mornings. My dreams aren't full of cowboys shooting at each other anymore, he laughed. It's those small tweaks that add up over time. Your brain and your heart will thank you. So far, we've talked about evening snacking and falling asleep with the TV on, two habits that may feel comforting in the moment, but could be slowly stealing away your rest, your health, and even your years. The good news is These patterns can be changed with gentle, manageable steps. Now that we've uncovered how that evening cookie or the background noise of a late-night television show can quietly wear away at your well-being, let's take a look at another habit that might be part of your routine without you even realizing it's doing harm. A viewer wrote in and asked this. I usually take a nap after dinner. I get sleepy and just want to lie down for a while before bed. Could that be causing problems? This is such a common situation, and it's perfectly understandable. After a long day, especially if your dinner was filling or comforting, that cozy chair starts to look awfully inviting. And maybe you tell yourself, just 20 minutes, but before you know it, you've been out cold for an hour, and then bedtime rolls around and you find yourself tossing and turning. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Evening naps, especially ones taken too late or lasting longer than 30 minutes, confuse your body's internal clock. That clock, often called your circadian rhythm, relies on a regular pattern of light, movement, and rest to know when to help you feel sleepy and when to help you feel alert. When you nap in the early evening, your body starts thinking it's already done with the day, and it delays the natural sleep signals. So what ends up happening is your sleep quality at night goes down. And when deep sleep is interrupted or shortened, the body doesn't get to perform all the vital repairs it needs to, repairing tissues, balancing hormones, processing memories, supporting your immune system. Over time, poor nighttime sleep contributes to higher risks of heart disease, dementia, and even a shortened lifespan. So what can you do instead? If you're feeling drowsy after dinner, consider taking a short walk around the house or even just standing and stretching gently for a few minutes. Open a window, sip on some water, or play a soft song to keep your mind lightly engaged. And if you do nap, try to keep it earlier in the day and limit it to no more than 20 to 30 minutes. There's a woman named Jean, 74, who used to nap every evening while watching the news. It became such a habit that by the time she went to bed, she was wide awake. Then she started a new routine. After dinner, she watered her plants, called her daughter for a quick chat, or folded some laundry while listening to music. Within a couple weeks, her sleep at night improved, and she said she felt clearer and less groggy in the mornings. It's not about doing more, she told me. It's about doing something different. Evening hours are precious. What you do during those few hours before bed can either support your long-term health or slowly chip away at it. Let's make them count. Here's another question we received. I like to catch up on news and emails on my tablet or phone before bed. Sometimes I scroll for an hour or two. Is that okay? Now, let me be honest. This is something many of us do. The world is busy, and sometimes the only quiet time we have catch up is in the evening. But screens, especially phones, tablets, and laptops, emit a type of light called blue light. And this type of light sends signals to your brain that say, stay awake, even when you're trying to wind down. The result? Your brain delays releasing melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. Not only does that make it harder to fall asleep, but it also shortens your time in deep, restful sleep, the very kind your brain and body need most as you age. But it's not just the light. Scrolling through emails, news stories, or social media, even if it seems harmless, often stirs up emotions, worry, stress, frustration. Those feelings aren't helpful when you're trying to relax. Your heart rate goes up, your thoughts start to race, and suddenly, what was supposed to be your bedtime becomes the start of another restless night. So what can you do? If you enjoy winding down with a screen, try switching to something softer. A printed book, a crossword puzzle, or even journaling a few thoughts before bed can calm the mind. And if you really want to read something on your device, consider using a blue light filter and dim the brightness, but try to shut it down at least 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. One couple I know, Dave and Marie, used to lie in bed side by side, each glued to their own phone, barely saying a word. Eventually, they agreed to keep the phones out of the bedroom and replace that time with quiet conversation and reading aloud to each other. Marie told me, we didn't just sleep better, we felt closer, like we were partners again, not just two people sharing a mattress. It's those kinds of moments that truly support our well-being, not just physically, but emotionally. So if you found yourself stuck in a loop of evening naps or late-night scrolling, Know that it's never too late to change. Not with guilt, but with kindness. With the understanding that your time is valuable. And so is your health. Every evening is a chance to care for yourself a little more deeply. To choose habits that bring rest, healing, and clarity. And when you do that regularly, you give your body the best chance to keep showing up strong for you day after day. Let's keep going, because these small choices you make each evening might just add up to years of better living. So far, we've uncovered a few simple but surprising habits that can quietly interfere with your well-being after 70. That late-night snack, falling asleep with the TV on, the unplanned evening nap, or scrolling through your phone until midnight. They seem small, even comforting at times, but over weeks and months, they begin to take a toll on the body, the brain, and even the heart. Another question that came in recently touches on something many of us have been guilty of. It goes like this. I tend to put off taking my medications until just before bed. Is that a problem? This is such a great question, and it's one that affects more people than you'd think. Whether it's a blood pressure pill, cholesterol medication, or something for sleep or digestion, it's easy to say, I'll just take it when I'm getting ready for bed. But here's what's important to understand. Timing matters. And for certain medications, especially after age 70, the way your body processes them can change. Slower digestion, altered liver function, changes in absorption. So taking them at the wrong time may reduce their effectiveness or cause unnecessary side effects during the night. Let's take blood pressure medication as an example. Some of them are designed to be taken in the morning to avoid your pressure dropping too low while you sleep. Taking them late at night, especially right before lying down, can increase the risk of dizziness, confusion, or even falls if you get up during the night. And sleeping medications, those need extra care. They might help you fall asleep at first, but if you take them too late, they can interfere with your natural sleep cycle. Plus, the grogginess they cause in the morning can be dangerous, especially if you're getting up in the dark or using the bathroom half awake. There was a man named Thomas who told me he used to take all of his pills right before brushing his teeth, just out of habit. But one night, he got up too quickly to use the bathroom, lost his balance, and took a hard fall. Thankfully, he wasn't seriously injured, but it scared him. His doctor later adjusted his schedule, and now he takes most of his medications with dinner, when he's still alert and active. It made a huge difference in how he feels. If you're unsure about when to take your medications, talk with your doctor or pharmacist. Write it down. Post a little chart on your refrigerator or near your pill box. These little adjustments can make a big difference, not just in how your medications work, but in how safely you sleep. Evening is a time to prepare your body for rest, not to overload it. Let it wind down gently. Now, let's talk about one more habit that quietly shortens life without most people realizing it. It's not what you eat or what you watch. It's going to bed angry or stressed. We received this question from a viewer. I sometimes lie in bed thinking about old arguments or worries from the day. I try to push them away, but I can't stop. Is that normal? Yes, it's incredibly normal. But it's also more harmful than most people realize. When we carry stress, frustration, or resentment into bed with us, our bodies remain on high alert. Even while we sleep, our heart rate stays elevated, our muscles remain tense, and our stress hormones, like cortisol, stay active in the bloodstream. Over time, this wears down your immune system, raises blood pressure, increases inflammation, and shortens the restorative phases of sleep that your body needs to heal. Some research even suggests that people who regularly go to bed emotionally distressed are more likely to experience cognitive decline, anxiety, and physical pain as they age. That means the emotional weight we carry at night doesn't just affect our mood, it affects our entire body. So what can you do? It starts with giving your mind a gentle place to rest, not by pretending the feelings don't exist, but by creating a short evening practice to let them go. That might be writing down what's on your mind in a notebook before bed, or whispering a quiet prayer, or even saying out loud, I release this for now. I will come back to it tomorrow if needed. One woman, Judith, told me she keeps a worry jar on her nightstand. If something is bothering her, she writes it down on a small slip of paper and puts it in the jar before she gets into bed. It sounds silly, she said, but it helps me feel like I put away for the night. And it works. Her sleep is deeper, and her mornings are less heavy. Another helpful habit is forgiveness. Not always easy, but powerful. Not necessarily for others, but for yourself. If you went through the day with frustration or said something you regret, try offering yourself a moment of grace. Say something simple. I did the best I could today. Tomorrow's a new chance. Your heart needs rest just as much as your body. And the truth is, you deserve to go to bed with peace on your mind, not tension in your chest. Letting go at night, even just a little, can help your body rest more fully, your mind reset more gently, and your spirit feel just a little more free. By now, we've talked about some of the evening habits that may seem innocent enough. A late snack, falling asleep to the TV, a nap that runs too long, medications taken at the wrong time, or holding on to stress at bedtime. These aren't just small annoyances. They're signals. Signals from the body and mind that something in our rhythm needs adjusting gently and with care. And that brings us to one more habit that often flies under the radar. Even though it quietly affects millions of people over 70, and it has to do with not drinking enough water in the evening out of fear of having to wake up during the night. Here's a question we receive that might sound familiar. I try not to drink anything after dinner because I don't want to be running to the bathroom all night. But now I'm waking up with headaches and feeling dried out. What should I do? This is such a common concern, and you're not wrong to want to avoid nighttime trips to the bathroom. No one wants to fumble in the dark half asleep, especially if balance or vision isn't what it used to be. But cutting off fluids too early or avoiding them altogether in the evening can lead to chronic dehydration, and that's where the real problems begin. Dehydration in older adults is more dangerous than many people realize. As we age, our sense of thirst becomes less accurate. The kidneys don't conserve water as well. Even mild dehydration can lead to confusion, dizziness, fatigue, constipation, and increased risk of urinary tract infections or even kidney issues. Over time, this strain wears on your system, and your heart, your brain, and your immune health can all be affected. So what's the solution? It's all about timing and balance. You don't have to drink a full glass of water right before bed. But if you begin sipping fluids gradually through the afternoon and into early evening, say, finishing your last drink about 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, your body will still be hydrated, and you'll have time to use the bathroom before lying down. Also, what you drink matters. Avoid beverages that dehydrate you, like coffee or alcohol, later in the day. Herbal teas like peppermint or lemon balm are gentler on your system and less likely to cause bladder urgency. And be mindful of salty food with dinner. They increase thirst and can throw off your body's water balance. I knew a man named Leo who prided himself on not needing to get up during the night, but he also had frequent headaches and felt sluggish in the morning. His doctor suggested adding just half a glass of water with dinner, and then another small one an hour later. After a week, the headaches faded, and he said he felt more awake, and to his surprise, he still slept through the night. It's not about guzzling water. It's about listening to your body and giving it what it needs in gentle amounts at the right time. And this brings us to something deeper. Because so many of these habits, whether it's skipping fluids, avoiding emotions, or falling asleep to the screen, they don't come from laziness. They come from a need to feel comfort, control, familiarity, and that's human. But the evening hours, more than any other time, are when our bodies most need care, not just to get to the night, but to repair, restore, and protect us for the long road ahead. There's something almost sacred about the quiet hours after sunset. They're a time to slow down, to tend to ourselves, and sometimes it means looking gently at our routines and asking, is this truly helping me or just filling the time? What's amazing is how quickly the body responds when we begin to shift, even slightly. A little water, a moment of calm, a better bedtime rhythm. You begin to feel more rested, more clear-headed, more in control, not of everything, but of the parts that matter most. And this leads to a kind of confidence that builds with age. The confidence that comes not from doing everything perfectly, but from knowing how to care for yourself wisely. So as you think about your own evening routine, I invite you to notice, are you avoiding things out of fear or habit? Or are you choosing what actually supports your health and happiness? You don't have to overhaul everything at once. Even changing just one evening habit can set off a chain reaction that helps you sleep better, feel stronger, and wake up more prepared to greet the day with a clear mind and a lighter heart. Because after 70, the small things become the big things. A good night's rest, a well-timed glass of water, a peaceful bedtime. These are not luxuries, they're lifelines. And you deserve every single one of them. As we worked our way through these habits, one thing has become clear. The choices we make in the evening are not just about winding down the day. They shape how well we sleep, how clearly we think, how strong our hearts beat, and even how many healthy years we get to enjoy. And the good news is none of these changes require anything drastic. Just awareness, just intention, just care. There's one more habit I want to talk about today, and it may surprise you because it doesn't involve food or sleep or even movement. It has to do with isolation in the evening hours and how spending your evenings emotionally disconnected, even if you're physically near others, can slowly affect your health over time. Someone shared this in a message. My evenings are the hardest part of the day. The phone is quiet. There's nothing left to do, and it feels like the world has moved on without me. That kind of quiet, not peaceful silence, but emotional stillness has a way of settling in and staying longer than it should. And over time, regular isolation at the end of the day can wear on the heart and mind. In fact, studies have shown that loneliness in the evening hours is linked to higher rates of insomnia, inflammation, depression, and even shortened life expectancy in older adults. It makes sense, doesn't it? Our brains are wired for connection, even small ones. A friendly voice, a shared laugh, a message from someone who remembers you. And when those don't come, night after night, the body begins to respond with subtle stress. Your immune system weakens. Your sleep becomes shallow. You start to feel less like a participant in life and more like a bystander. But here's the beautiful part. Connection doesn't need to be dramatic or complicated. It can be small, simple, intentional. There's a woman named Estelle, 82, who lives alone since her husband passed away. For a while, her evenings were filled with TV reruns and not much else. But one day, she decided to call her neighbor just to say hello. That one call turned into a regular check-in. Then they started swapping soup recipes. And now, every Thursday evening, they sit on their porches at the same time with a cup of tea and chat from across the fence. It's not fancy, but it's connection. It's heart. If you're spending your evenings feeling emotionally distant, consider reaching out in even the smallest way. Maybe write a quick letter, send a voice message, join a small online group for folks your age. Some libraries and senior centers offer call-in programs where people can join a friendly conversation with others from home. No computer needed. Or create your own ritual of warmth. Light a candle and think of someone you love. Say their name aloud. Look through an old photo album. Reflect on a memory that still makes you smile. These aren't distractions. They're bridges. Back to yourself, back to others, back to the world you're still very much a part of. Because no matter your age, you were not meant to feel invisible. You are still here, still full of life, still capable of being seen and loved, and of giving that love in return. As we come to the end of this conversation, I hope something we talk about today, whether it was a late night snacking, the quiet emotional stress, or just the way you prepare for sleep, has reminded you that small things matter. They always have. And now, more than ever, those small changes can give you back energy, clarity, and more time to enjoy the life you've worked so hard to build. This isn't about fear. It's about respect for your body, your time, your presence in the world. You've come this far not by accident, but by strength, and that same strength can carry you into the years ahead with joy, confidence, and peace of mind. If anything here touched your heart or sparked a thought, I'd love for you to share in the comments. Your voice matters, and your story might help someone else feel less alone tonight. And if you'd like to keep receiving gentle, practical guidance just like this, please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You deserve evenings that nourish you, not just physically, but emotionally. Evenings that end not in worry or regret, but in calm, in comfort, in the quiet strength of knowing you're doing what's best for you. Here's to restful nights, joyful mornings, and living well at every age.